Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 2 of the Q&A, so let's go ahead and get this started. All right, first question. Hey coach, I'm an early intermediate and have been running a basic conjugate system for the past 2 months. 4 upper body and 4 lower body max lifts. Should I slowly add in more variations over time, or should I immediately add as much variation as possible for my max lift? I am fortunate to be a member of a performance-based gym that has various bars, chains, bands, etc. As always, appreciate the content. I would honestly say, as an early intermediate, I don't think you need a lot of variation yet for the maxes. I would say maybe 6. 6 upper, 6 lower, right? About 6. So 6 different presses. 3 different squats, 3 different sorts of deadlifts. And I think that'll be fine for now. However, you're not going to be an early intermediate for long, especially if you push conjugate pretty hard. And especially having access to all that equipment, right? You're going to be able to blast through plateaus extremely quickly. Okay, you're going to blast through them real quick if you pick your accessory lifts good. And even then, I would say even if you don't pick your accessory lifts good, if you just do a couple of types of presses, plenty of rowing, get strong on good mornings, your hamstrings and stuff like that, you probably are still going to be good even if you don't know what your weak links are. Especially where you are, you'll probably be fine as long as you keep the volume appropriate. So I would say about 6. Over time, as you start getting towards being an advanced lifter, I'm going to recommend about 12. Okay. Novices, I like 4. Early intermediate, about 6. As you start getting towards being an advanced lifter, and you could be there, right? You've been running conjugate the past 2 months as an early intermediate. You could be hitting advanced numbers, at least on the basic charts, within a year. And if that happens, you need to go to about 12. But you could ramp it up as you start getting more intermediate. You could go to 8. But about 12 on average for someone who's just cresting advanced. It's what I like to use for my lifters, around 12. Okay, that means 12 different sorts of presses. But that's easy to do with bands and chains. And especially if you have access to a couple barbells, right? That's real easy. That could be done with just bands, chains, and a power bar. That's super easy. About 12 lower body lifts, and that can be a mix of good mornings, squats, and deadlifts. Because I'm going to say right here, when you start getting towards advanced, you need to start maxing on good morning variations too. They will be extremely useful for you. So that's what I would recommend. And you don't have to have a lot of variation for your accessory work for where you are right now, right? As long as you change it up occasionally, you'll be fine. All right, next question. For powerlifting prep, to ease the shoulders while squatting, would you recommend a safety squat or a buffalo bar? Can't afford both. Okay, this is tricky because you specifically said for prep. Didn't say for general training. Because for general training, I like the SSB more. Okay, I think it brings a little more to the table for squatting. And it brings a lot to the table for good mornings. However, you're talking about easing on your shoulders for prep, all right? Because your mechanics are pretty much identical with the buffalo bar versus a straight bar, but the buffalo bar puts a little less stress on the shoulder. That is one of the best uses of this bar. Like, that is, for a lot of people, the primary reason they buy that bar. That is the primary reason they buy it, to maintain the same squat mechanics, right? The same bar path, the same weight that they can use with a straight bar while putting less stress on the shoulders. Okay, a lot of people buy it for benching also, but probably the most common use of the buffalo bar is what we just described. The bar is literally intended for what you just asked. And so I would say in that case, that should absolutely be your choice. Buffalo bar for specifically what you asked, hands down. For general build-up, getting good at very common weak links on the squat, being able to do higher volumes of training with less weight so that you can get more hypertrophy and recover better, the safety squat bar is better. It's better for that. So we need to understand the roles here. So general, just off-season training and strength building to build up your squat, SSB is better. But if you're trying to maintain the biomechanics and the same weight that you use with a power bar, buffalo bar should be your choice here. It's just easier on your shoulders. There's no other difference as far as your squat is concerned. It is simply easier on your shoulders. Now, it's a different ball game when you bench with it. It's a completely different bar in that case. But for squatting, yep, that's what you want to use for this purpose. That's what I would recommend. So again, as long as that is what you are buying it for, that's the best choice. But understand that these two bars have very, very different uses. All right, next question, and I believe last question of the week. How much moderate cardio, jogging / biking, can a person do without it impeding on their strength training / muscle gains, assuming strength programming and lifestyle factors are pretty good? I'm going to assume by that lifestyle factor you mean food is on point, because that is going to be the biggest factor. But I think we need to differentiate between jogging and biking, because those are two very, very different things that are going to have a different answer. Okay, biking. If you are eating the calories back up and you have built up your endurance over time with it, it will not impede your strength training at all. And in some cases, especially if you're eating the calories back up that you are burning, it can potentially facilitate better recovery, right? It might actually help you. I feel that this is a factor in my squat. You guys know that I pretty much have an elite squat at this point, right? Have an elite squat, even in my 40s. Still getting stronger on it. Shooting for even more elite squat. I routinely do an hour on my bike a day. A lot of times I do it after my leg day. So a lot of times after my 2 squat sessions, I'll go jump on the bike for an hour. It's not uncommon for me to do that. I'll always do my voiceovers and vlog it and everything first, but it's within an hour or 2 of finishing. I'll jump on my bike, put in an hour. I do a decent amount of rucking with a backpack too. So the answer there is no. You're not going to have a problem at all if you eat the calories back up. And if anything, we could talk about better flux and better total anabolic state because of the extra carbs and everything that you can eat, right? It may actually benefit you. Jogging can, in theory, do the same thing. Just be aware that jogging is harder on your joints. You need to be very, very careful with your shoes, the terrain you run on, your gait, all of that stuff, because jogging beats you up more. It's much, much higher impact than something like recumbent biking or swimming. Much higher impact, it can beat you up more. That beating you up can interfere. So you have to be a little more careful there. And that can still be fine also if, come back over to the point, if you have good shoes, you're careful of what sort of terrain you run on. Again, hard asphalt may not be your best choice, and you have a good gait. Okay, you've done some gait analysis. You're probably still going to be okay there. Again, if you build it up gradually and you eat more calories to compensate. Okay, if you eat more calories to compensate, it's when people start doing a bunch of this stuff to lose weight. This will absolutely be a problem. That will destroy you. That's not going to give you the result. You're going to lose muscle and strength if you are not very, very careful, particularly if you add new cardio in to create the deficit. Okay, that will destroy muscle tissue. You'll lose muscle. But if you maintain the same amount that you've been doing, you probably will not lose muscle tissue if everything's dialed in, even in a deficit. Again, it has to do with what you're conditioned to and dialing your programming in perfectly. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.